I'm Dr. Purushothaman, Professor, Civil Engineering, Agni College of Technology, Chennai. My email is yellapura@gmail.com. This is a brief introduction on my research method, recovery method, and resources used for my research with the hypothesis that Sumerians spoke Tamil well before they settled in Mesopotamia. I have used the resources which are available in internet. I could carry out the research using the literature available in ETCSL, the transliteration, and the EPSD Sumerian dictionary, primarily the transliteration and the meanings. Further, the Madras University lexicon available online and Google. This was possible with few leads from Dr. Loganathan of Malaysia. As a native speaker of Tamil, I have to thank Mr. Nathan Sivaganesan, who donated many books and encouraged me to pursue this study. I hope and wish that my works would be helpful for those who are interested in any language of ancient nature. My work could be taken as a novice and intuitive work requiring more improvement and further research. Kramer on Sumerians is a good starter, is mostly unbiased, unlike many other scholars. A good reference book. Each library should have a copy of this. And so his book on the Sumerians, their history, culture, and character. I like this book, and I'm happy to have a copy of that. And to start with, it's just some wondering that many people try to identify themselves or ourselves with Sumerians as ancient inventors of making use of a river for cultivation, using clay for writing, and making bricks. If we see this page below, we would know why we or any want to identify with the Sumerians. Even English people can claim that I am, the phrase I am was from Sumerians. That was my intuition and proposal. Likewise, Tamil people can easily agree as Amam, yes, and Hindi people Hindi speaking people can say we are Am people. We are Am Admi, we are Am people. The Sumerian syllable or word Am is very interesting as meaning as being, and this is almost very close to the mantra, Sanskrit or Tamil mantra Om. And philosophically, I am of the view we are all equidistant from a datum in an evolutionary frame, all beings creatures in a multi-degree of freedom. We are proud and happy somebody in the past thought, invented, so it is a possibility for us to understand and invent or to pursue the inquest, to know, to do, or the likes. And it's very interesting to note in the very beginning of this book by Kramer that the hand of the God against it. This phrase is very thoughtful, and we knew right from the beginning of Sumerians, people fought, they had tough life living there, and even now it is so. We could understand that the hand of God against the people who live in Sumeria or the Mesopotamia or the modern land as we see, that because Because of these two rivers and the richness the land has got, people fight for it and they keep on invading on that particular land. And so we see the quote from Kramer, "The hand of the god against it, an unpromising land seemingly doomed to poverty and dissolution." But he also praises the Sumerians that as they endowed with an unusually creative intellect and a venturesome, resolute spirit. So any people, any person, anybody having come across the Sumerians would easily identify, would like to identify with the Sumerians as a descendant. And so they were the inventors of many things that we have to be proud that humankind, and I would treat this as the first industrial revolution of the mankind, particularly of the written times, written worlds, that is when writing had taken place or started. And we see from the Kramer page number 304, pictograms with notes on the pictogram phonetic values and the meaning, and this I have already covered in my introduction, and I would just take this first sign which has got a value of an or on or both, meaning heaven or God, that I have taken in the present form of Tamil as an, on, aandavan, anna, van, anma also. So this I am seeing that as a starting point, even representing the zero. The concept of zero is evident here. This also could mean beginning, spreading from here, the sun, whatever that could be. So very interesting to have these findings as came out from the LA scholars. We have to thank them. So another word that, or the pictogram that I wish to look at is this one, Gudu, G-U-D, good, which has got the front view of a bull or ox with two horns. Its meaning is ox. So this is very specific and interesting, as we have in villages in Tamil Nadu a game called Sadugudu, and where we have to sing like the way we wish, and one of the string will be Sadugudu gudu 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 gudu. So where this gudu gudu will be repeated. So this game had been taken into Olympics also as kabaddi. So we could easily see this is a bull with two horns, and gudu gudu, sadugudu. It really puts us in our memory. And so if we look at the pictogram as given, particularly 3000 BC and before, we could see that they represent more or less the idea. Even if we don't know which language they had spoken, but with the transliteration and the meaning available, we could easily relate to our language. Either Tamil or whoever looks at it could easily identify relating to that language. But my approach was, or with the hypothesis that Sumerian spoke, the early Sumerian spoke Tamil, I could prove that point. So So anybody willing to prove any other language might be able to do. But when we critically look at the terms relating to writing and the written matter, they very closely relate to the present form of Tamil that I had already covered in that introduction. The words like tupu, dub, and that's one critical word, and also ki, kiri, that is another, and also the library, Krikine, of Sulgi's library, name of that Sulgi's library as Krikine, all very well go with the present form of Tamil. And the approach is, this is one interesting point that we have to undertake, that is starting from the pictogram of 3000 BC and before, and the given transliteration and the meaning, we should start afresh and also travel to the time that the Sumerian language cuneiform was discovered and then deciphered. So we would be able to make some new progress, and we would be able to find out new things, or we would be able to prove and substantially validate what our early scholars have produced. And also begin with my style of approach. Say, for example, the river name of Euphrates is given as Puratu, P-U-R-A-T-T-U, as an accordion name. And this Puratu is very interesting, and I could easily relate this to a Tamil word which means turning upside down or even turbulent. So in fact this aspect I had brought out in one of my recent paper. And likewise the another name of Euphrates river in Sumerian is I have required that as Porunai. Porunai is still the name in the present form of one river, Thomirabharani, that runs in the southernmost part of India, and also one in Erode. So these two names very aptly fit well even with the present form of Tamil. And this Protu is very interesting. The root word or the beginning syllable is Pu. We take this Pu and we could look what it means in ETCL, a resource that I have used, where you can find out that Pu means watercourse name. So there, though this is Sumerian, and there Protu is accordion, but I have already noted going from the Sumerian word dub and the accordion word tupu, I have indicated that the accordion usage gives the correct form of what Sumerian would have used, and also tells technique how Sumerian had abstracted the initial syllables for writing or constructing any new unknown word, or when they newly coined a new word, or when they write any other new word. So in that sense, so here we see Pu would really mean Protu. That is one of my proposal. So again we go to EPSD, where this Pu can be seen as W-E-L-L, well. Lower course, footing, cistern, well, fish pond, source of river. So here also it is consistent with ETCSL, though we get many more meaning than just a course of name of a course of water course. So you have more in the more entries in the EPSD than in the ETCL, but anyhow, and the same PU, the well, could be seen in the Tamil dictionary or the lexicon as as given in the Madras University lexicon. You could see that Puratudal, here it means to turn a thing over, to roll, and also another meaning, turning over, overturn, overthrow, and so. So you can easily see the phonetical form P-U-R-A-T-T-U. So Purattu, and that goes well with the accordion name of the Euphrates river. So what I have done, I have taken the cues or the clues from EPSD and the ETCSL and then related that and found out what that is in DSAL, the lexicon, Madras University lexicon, where both the phonetic values and the meaning match. So we could fairly confidently say as they are probable words in the present form of Tamil. So this is not just for one word or a few words. I have recovered in present form of Tamil two Sumerian literature. One is the Iduba and another is the flood story. So I could confidently say that the early Sumerian spoke Tamil, and because they spoke Tamil and they were fluent and they were only inventing the new method of writing, so but they were writing in the language in which they were fluent. So I could easily make out that distinction than from other scholars, and though the other scholars have refuted that because few words are found in Sumerian literature from some languages, we cannot say that Sumerian, that is, we could not say confidently that Sumerian spoke in that language. But I refute the same view, saying that because we could see some of the words of some in the present form of a given language, that shows the validity of the earlier scholars that they could correctly have obtained those transliteration and translation fairly well. And also, I now recommend, because I could see that early Sumerian spoke Tamil, and that was possible because of these data that are available online from ETCSL and EPSD, that the early Sumerian works get a third-party validation, external validation from the present form of Tamil. As we could see, it shows that their work is fairly well, as we see from present form of Tamil. So this tells you an idea of how I have approached using the ETCSL and EPSD as my source, and they are my secondary data, in the sense it was not original research. I have adopted what they have provided as data, and I have not mutated any of those data to great extent. I have used them as it is or as it was, and then I could see and relate to present form of Tamil. So I also recommend, because I could see, or this shows that the early Sumerian spoke Tamil, so only they could use Tamil terms, or so only we could see and relate to present form of Tamil. The scholars should now investigate and find out how they are relating to the present form of Tamil. This exercise will give a refinement on the findings of the Western scholars who work on the Sumerian literature. So you could also see my earlier work, so given in the YouTube. I will be posting this, that, and I hope this was useful, this piece of brief introduction on the research methodology, or how I have recovered the Sumerian literature in the present form, particularly those two works, Duba and the flood story, and also a few other passages in some other literature, like Gilgamesh visiting the nether world. So that I have I got motivated looking at some YouTube singing by one Peter Pringle, who had composed music for the first 10 lines, which I have also recovered, and I have also given that my work in the present form of Tamil. I hope as this will enhance, improve the results of the scholars, I recommend that scholars should consider this aspect. Thank you very much.